Does France want to join Brics? Is Paris sending its love to the Organization of Developing Nations? Is this a sign that Brics is entering the big leagues? While it's possible, it's still too soon to be sure. Here's what we know for certain. Yesterday, French media reported that Emmanuel Macron had a request. He wanted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to invite him to the upcoming BRICS summit. The 15th annual BRICS summit is taking place between the 22nd and 24th of August. It's being held in the South African city of Johannesburg. Leaders from the 5 BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, will be present. We're talking about presidents and prime ministers. Along with these 5 nations, there will be other guests, the Friends of BRICS as they're called. Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates and Indonesia have all been invited, as have some other nations. Many are hopeful about becoming members. Reports say some 14 countries have applied to join the grouping, which brings us back to France. Macron went to China in April. He wanted Europe to follow a course independent of the US. He wanted to maintain good relations with Beijing, especially when it came to trade. Is the BRICS summit just another platform for Macron to peddle his politics? Or is it something even more underhanded? Russia has asked France to explain Macron's invite. Moscow asked if it's some sort of Trojan horse move. While we wait for the reply from Paris, one thing is certain. BRICS is increasingly becoming a crucial platform on the world stage.
There have been more civilians killed in Haiti than Ukraine in the first months of 2023, according to the United Nations World Food Programme. Powerful gangs are battling overmatched police in the streets of the capital, Port-au-Prince. In the middle, the population. Exclandia Belizaire lives in Cité Soleil, an epicentre of the violence. Her stepfather was shot dead on her doorstep. Now she's worried about her daughters. Sexual violence is rife in Haiti. Gangs use rape to cow and control the population in their domains. And their grip is only tightening. The United Nations estimates that 80% of the capital is run by criminal groups. It's affecting access to food. Half of all Haitians now face acute food insecurity, more than in Somalia and Afghanistan, says the World Food Programme. Famine itself has arrived in Cité Soleil.
In rural areas, what's going on is that these gangs are fighting for farmland and they're fighting for their food sources.
That includes Haiti's breadbasket, the Artibonite, affecting the food supply even more.
Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei hosted leaders from the terror group Palestinian Islamic Jihad this week, and Khamenei made a very stunning declaration that gives you an idea of the Iranian regime's timetable for a future war with Israel. Folks, according to Khamenei, it may be very close. Call me crazy, folks, but I think it's kind of a big deal when Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei suggests that Israel could disappear within the next 5 years. Now, Khamenei made these statements on Wednesday as leaders of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad terror group, obviously an Iranian proxy, visited Tehran to do what they portrayed as a victory lap after their 5-day conflict with Israel last month. What struck me were the comments Khamenei made during this meeting. He said that, look, Israel just this year is celebrating its 75th anniversary since it was miraculously reborn as a nation in 1948. Khamenei said, we think there's a very good chance that Israel may not see its 80th birthday, meaning Israel, in his view, could be gone within the next 5 years. And the reason he gave, folks, I thought was very telling. He pointed specifically at the internal discord and political upheaval in Israel, also to what he said were the hundreds of thousands of protesters in the streets in Israel these past few months, protesting against the current government and its plans for judicial reform. And Khamenei has gained confidence from that. And he is saying, look, Israel is tearing itself apart from within. And he is salivating at the thought of a divided Israel and Iran and its proxies taking advantage of that.
South Korean and U.S. forces training together as part of the largest ever live-fire exercises in the two countries' history. Close to 2,500 troops took part in the war games on Thursday, which were held just 50 kilometers from South Korea's capital, Seoul. The drills are meant to celebrate over 70 years of relations between the two countries, and South Korea's president says exercises like these help better train and prepare his country's troops. Less than an hour after the drills concluded, neighboring North Korea fired 2 short-range missiles into the waters around Japan. The authoritarian nation condemned the U.S. and South Korean drills, saying they were, quote, rehearsal for an invasion. The drills come as countries in the region are growing more concerned about North Korea's weapons tests. Nearby countries are calling for greater security cooperation.
厳重に抗議をいたしました。引き続き情報収集、警戒監視に全力を挙げるとともに、日米韓で緊密に連携してまいります。
The U.S. and its allies in the region are stepping up military exchanges, and joint exercises like these are happening almost every month. Analysts say this is part of a push to increase the United States' presence in Asia, not only to manage North Korea's military provocations, but also to counter an increasingly aggressive China. As North Korea and China continue to make their military presence felt in the region, the U.S. and its allies are responding with a clear display of unity.